Today we're going to do number 128, longest consecutive sequence. So given an unsorted array of integers, nums, return the length of the longest consecutive element sequence. It must be O of n time. For this problem, for learning purposes, I'll show you multiple ways for it, and it's going to be longer than O of n times. But I'll show you how to do the O of n time as well. So here we have this problem of 104, 201, 32, and then the longest consecutive is doing 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see here the length is 4, and that's what we return. So how can we solve this? Is the first way we can use is brute force. And now we can add all the values into a set to handle duplicates first. And then we loop through set. And here we need a count. So we need to create a longest and start off with 0 and then create loop through set. And for that set, we create count, which will be the current count of that set equals to 0. And then we do a second loop to see if 1 plus the value exists. And then we increment count, update longest with max longest or count, and we just return count. So we'll loop through this. We will add this to the set. Look at this one, and then loop through the rest of them. If it has a 1 plus 1, we add that. Add that to it. So for example here, 100, does it have a 101? No. And so forth. But here we loop through. Does it have a 2 in it? Yes. There's 3 in it? Yes. It's 4 in it? Yes. And we got length of 4, so we return the longest. So this is going to be O time of O of n squared, since we're doing a nested for loop. And then the space complexity, we're creating a set which could be as long as nums. So it's going to be a space of O of n. So how else can we do it is that we can sort it. So here we sort nums, and here we only have to loop it once by seeing if the value has the next value in it. Loop once, and then we do the same thing. Check if value is 1 plus the previous one, and then add count, and then update longest with the max again, and we're going to do the same thing at in. It's kind of implied. Create longest, and then we just return longest. By sorting it, we can do time of O of n log n, because we're using a sorting algorithm, and then looping through. And then space complexity is also going to be O of n, worst case, sorting using the space complexity there. So how else we can do this? A more clever way is to continue using the set, but change how we go about the loop. So we do the same thing, add all numbers, loop through the set, create a count. But now we do check if the previous value does not exist within the set. So here we have 100. The previous value doesn't exist within a set, so we start a count and we want to go up to 1. But here 4, we know that 3 exists, so we don't use it. If we go to 3, we know that 2 exists, so we don't use it. But 1 doesn't have a previous one, so we count it and go through it. 200 doesn't have previous, but it only has a count of 1. And then when we do that, we do while loop as long as the set has the next value, and then we just update the longest with max. We'll count, and then we just return longest. And here we're just looping it once, because we just loop it once and then we just loop the set for when the value only has the next value inside of it. And the space complexity is going to be O of n, because we're creating a set for this nums. So for here, I would recommend using this set method because it has the O of n time requirement needed for this problem. So we create the longest starts off as 0, and that's what we're going to return. Now we create the set const set equals new set, pass through nums, and now we loop through this. So for const num of num set, and we only want to do this if nums set doesn't have that previous value. And then within this, we'll do this while loop nums set that has the next value. So when I create a variable, and I'll start off as 1. We just increment the length. And that should do it. I forgot if this was of or in. Oh, and then we have the longest. And then we also need a current value to keep track of where we're at. Or else we're going to go through this infinite loop. as we've seen. Great, so that's one way. And we can use the sorting method. So here, we're going to keep the longest, and then we'll have to handle the edge case if nums is has a length of 0. I guess we can keep it like this. If nums dot length equals 0, turn 0. Now we sort the nums dot sort. And now we do the for loop. So that longest will be at least 1 here, and then we can keep track of the streak out here, and it's going to start off with 1. And now we can do that for loop for let I, and then we can start at the first value now and compare it to the previous value. And here we can get the current value. Previous is going to be nums I minus 1. And we can tell if it's equal to each other, we want to keep going. We want to kind of skip it. So we do if current for to prev to handle this edge case. We continue. And then if current equals previous plus 1, that's what we need. So streak will go plus plus. Otherwise, we reset the streak to 1. And then we can just update the longest. Great. Now we can do more of a brute force way. So we add it to the set const nums set equals new set nums. And then we have the longest. And that's what we're going to return. Now we loop through the set for let num of nums set if, then we create the current const that current so it's going to have a streak of 1 if there's a current. So if nums set dot has let me do a while loop, not while nums set dot has. And let me do a current will be nums, sorry, actually, and then we're going to create a streak equals 1. Current plus 1. We update the current and then update the streak. And now we do longest equals math.max longest streak. because this one, we're not using that clever hack of seeing if there's no previous number before knowing that it's going to be the start of it. And this actually doesn't pass the time limit for this problem. So those are 3 ways we can solve this problem using brute force, where for each number, we look into whether the next number exists. If it does, we keep a running count. And then once we finish looking through the rest of the values, we update the longest. Or same idea, we keep the longest count and sort it. And by that, we can only loop it once because the numbers are next to each other. We just have to keep in mind that some values can be the same, so we have to skip those values. And then we do the same thing if you get to a streak, if it's keep going on a streak, or if it's not the next number, you have to reset the streak. And lastly, we can use the set again, but cleverly start when we know that there's no previous number in that set beginning, meaning that is the start of the ascending pattern, consecutive pattern. So we only start with that, and then we can check the next values if they're in this set or not, and then just update the longest. And that's all. Thank you.